What is going on, everybody? What's going on? What's going on? Um, Happy Friday night. Happy Friday night to everyone out there. Let's talk about this game. Talk about this game we got here on Sunday. It's the Atlanta Falcons. Once again, back at it after a nice little 10 days off. Enjoyed that little mini bye week. It feels like forever since we played. I'm gonna be honest, it feels like forever. Also, just feels like yesterday we were talking about the win versus the Bucks. That's how time works. Especially when you have a good time, it goes by fast. But when you're ready to see your team get out there and play, it also feel like forever. But I definitely think that, needless to say, this was a nice little recuperation, a nice little, break needed. You can say it was deserved after the games that, we had just had. Obviously, a lot of them being high profile matchups, divisional games, but no rest for the weary here. Another divisional game Sunday. Heading up I-85 for the first rendition this year of the I-85 Bowl, or what? I mean, do we call it the I-85 Bowl, or does it have a, special little nickname to it? I mean, obviously I-85 is the big thing about it. It's the Falcons and the Panthers this Sunday in Charlotte, 4:25 kickoff. That's, a lot of people are kind of talking about that. It's a 4:25 kickoff. I don't have the biggest issue with that. I could actually get a little accustomed to playing in that time spot more so often. It does feel a little weird. It does, but that's how the 4:25 kickoff in Charlotte, in Carolina. And first of all, obviously, we all know that the Carolina Panthers are not a good football team. They are they're probably once again this year one of, if not the worst team in the entire NFL. And, they're an organization that really starts up top with a lot of these organizations in Carolina. And Panthers fans will tell you, Panthers fans, one thing about them, there's some fan bases that for the most part are stupid. The Aints are one of those fan bases where there's some smart, Saints fans out there, Aints fans, I like. But there's also a lot of that fan base that's really fucking stupid. And a lot of top Panthers fans is, for the most part, now obviously, every fan base, has their little spat in it, little dumbass. But for the most part, Panthers fans, they're pretty smart, I would say. They know what their situation, their team is. They know their team sucks. They know their team ain't doing shit this year or probably in the next several years. They'll tell you that they got an awful owner. They got an awful situation going on. They got no future answer at quarterback, it seems like. Bryce Young, who obviously they traded everything for to pick him at number 1 2 years ago. It has not worked out. He is currently riding on the bench. The Red Rifle, Andy Dalton, is starting currently at quarterback for them. And, Carolina's 1-4. Their lone win of the season was a win against the Raiders, who are also not a really good team. We'll get a look at them later in the year on Monday night. But they're not a really good team either. They don't have a great quarterback situation really at all. They might have one of the worst quarterback situations in the NFL too. That's their lone win on the year. And it was with Andy Dalton. And Andy Dalton has had that offense at times looking better than it did with Bryce Young, mainly because he is a veteran, and that's what a veteran is going to do. But at the same time, he can only get the job done to an extent. And let's be completely honest. The Falcons, the first 5 weeks, and it's the thing we talked about really since the schedule came out. The first 5 weeks, the first 3, really brutal. But you still got to consider the first 5 because after those first 3 were 2 divisional games against the 2 toughest teams in the division. That included 3 primetime games of those first 5 weeks. And the general consensus was you had to get out of that stretch 3-2. If you could get out of that stretch, and we got out of that stretch 3-2. However we did it, however we had to do it, we clawed our way to a 3-2 record after 5 weeks. And that's all you could really ask for out of this team. Considering you had the Steelers, and everyone knows the Steelers are one of the best organizations in the NFL. The Eagles in Philadelphia on a Monday night, that's always a tough place to play. Kind of had been a house of horrors for Kirk Cousins. He went up there, he got the win. You faced on Sunday Night Football in the Benz the best team in the world, the Kansas City Chiefs. And you lost that game, but you showed a lot of promise. You showed you could hang with them. And then after that, 2 divisional matchups at home versus the Aints. You won that game. And then versus the Bucs on Thursday night, the game we're coming off of. And that was one crazy. And now coming off all that, what's going on, Rudy? Cheers, man. Cheers. Coming off of all that, you head up to Charlotte for what should honestly be one of your only easy games this year, because everyone was talking about, including myself, the first 5 weeks. But after that, after Sunday, you still got to look at it. We got Seattle coming in here, and Seattle hasn't looked really good the past few weeks, but that at the same time, that could be very scary because they're due for a win again at some point, and they're going to be hungry for a win. Seattle's going to be hungry for a win at some point, and they could really want to, and they're going to come down here hungry for one. Then you got to go down to Tampa for the rematch, this time in their house, and the odds are, that it's very rare you win those types of games twice. Then you come home, you face the Cowboys, which, listen, regardless, the Cowboys game, that's always going to be one of the games, regardless of what time it's being played at, the attention's going to be on you. That's going to be one of the games of the week, considering the spot we're in right now. That is going to be one of the marquee games of that week, and there's going to be a lot of lights on you that week, too. That ought to be a primetime game. Even though that is a 1 o'clock game, the coverage it's going to get ought to be a primetime game. And then you got to go down to New Orleans, and that's always a tough test. Then you got to go to Denver. That's the 5 games after this we got heading into the bye week. So this should really be considered, out of all those, the one layup, the one game that you look at and say should be a win. Now those games I just listed, is it like that's the toughest stretch ever for the Falcons? No. We've seen this. The Falcons can win tough games. However, this does not need to be a game where it comes down to the fourth quarter. It comes down to the very end. If the Falcons are who we think the Falcons are this year, if this really is a new era, this really is a different team we have here this year, if this is the start of building something new, building a new culture, this is one of those games you got to take care of. And there's no way around this. The Panthers, for one, are obvious. They're one of the most dysfunctional situations in the entire NFL. They don't have an answer at quarterback. Them and the Cleveland Browns have, in recent years, have the 2 worst situations in the league due to their quarterback play, due to trades that they made that were absolutely beyond mind-boggling stupid with the Browns and Deshaun Watson. We dodged a bullet there, and we should always be in mind of that. We dodged a bullet there, and for people that wanted Deshaun Watson like myself, I'll gladly admit I am so glad I was wrong. And then you see Carolina trading up to get that number 1 pick. They traded I mean, think about it. Carolina right now could have Caleb Williams, could have DJ Moore, could have Brian Burns, could have had all those picks back. They could have had all those picks that they traded back. Carolina could be in a completely different situation right now if they didn't get greedy, or I mean, the bottom line is this: that pick was egregiously bad on so many levels, and I think we saw it. And this year, Carolina, they got a new GM, they got a new head coach. Bad situation because of that trade, and they're gonna be for a while. That's just the reality. When you make, and those are the types of trades that can go one way or the other. They can absolutely make your franchise, or they can break your franchise. And in Carolina's case, it's absolutely broken them for the time to come. So this should be a game that we go up there Sunday, and I'm going to be completely honest, we should win by 2+8. Matter of fact, this really shouldn't even be a game by the time of the fourth quarter. We shouldn't have to pan. And listen, obviously, as Falcons fans, considering until the game is over, the game's not over. But this shouldn't have to be one of those games where having a heart attack at the end. This should be one of those games where I'm going to be completely honest, where Morris should maybe have to be thinking about putting Michael Penix in for some of the fourth quarter, because that's how bad I think I want to see this team go and beat the Panthers on Sunday. This can't be one of those games where you come out and you play with your food for all 4 quarters and you let the Panthers hang around. Now, you got to consider this. Their division opponent, yes, and that can never – listen, to Carolina, this is going to be their Super Bowl. I'm telling y'all right now. To the Panthers, they're going to play this game like this is their Super Bowl, because when you look at – and this is the thing with Carolina in recent years. They always play divisional games the toughest, especially versus us in Tampa. They always play us the toughest. They play the Saints tough too in Charlotte and New Orleans. It don't really seem like they can get shit done down there. But well, especially versus us, because I'm going to be honest. The Panthers, they hate the Bucs, they hate the Saints. We're their rivalry. We're their rivalry. And us, we really can't give a shit at this point, because they haven't been any good since really Cam Newton left. But to them, whenever they play us, that's almost like their Super Bowl, because that is the one game they want to show up, they want to show out, and they want to play their ass off. That's why you can't come out slacking Sunday. You got to come out Sunday. You got to put full force ahead. It has to be full go, 100%. Keeping your foot on the gas pedal for all 4 quarters. That's going to be the big stressing point. Is going to be playing for 60 minutes, not letting Carolina have a chance late in the game. That needs to be the thing. Because let's say we win this game by 3 points. Let's say this is a 27-goal goal or win at the end in a back-and-forth game. Yeah, we'll be happy we got the win. And listen, I'll take anyone at the end of the day, but I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all that honestly, even though a win always feels good, that will not feel fully satisfying. It just won't, because this is really one of those games we need to come out and we need to have a performance that does not shoot our blood pressure through the roof. This should be a game, honestly, that really shouldn't be in question too much after halftime. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say this is absolutely a game that last year, and we've seen it actually. We don't just got to say we've seen it. This is a type of game that the Falcons have lost the past few years. In Charlotte, it's a game you're absolutely supposed. We find a way to lose these games. Granted, it was under a different coach, under completely different quarterback circumstance. I'm not worried about, I'm going to be honest, I'm not really worried about us losing Sunday. I'm not. Now, there's always, with this team, you always got to keep anything in mind that anything can happen. I'm really not worried about us losing Sunday. I really can't see us losing this game. But, and it always comes with a but, I can't stress these games enough because while, yes, a game versus the Saints or a game versus the Bucks or a game versus the Chiefs or Eagles, Pittsburgh, there's obviously a lot of stress going into it. This is a type of game that I'm going to be honest with y'all, considering where we're supposed to be, the team we're supposed to be, kind of makes me a little more nervous in all those games because we're really going to see the Falcons' ability to win games they're supposed to win. And I'm going to be honest, that's something the Falcons have not shown too much or really at all of in recent years. So this has to be a game Sunday where if this is a new era, if you really are turning a corner here, you got to come out. You got to win this game. And I'm going to be honest, you got to win it by 2+2. That at the end, it is still in question. You have to make a statement Sunday. You got to make a statement. It's a divisional game. And very rarely do you get at like the Panthers that should be layups twice a year for you. Well, you've really missed that. Let's be honest. Carolina's been bad for really ever since Cam Newton got injured. Carolina has been bad. We should have been sweeping the Panthers now for years. We haven't been able to. This has to be a year we come out and we win in Charlotte. Man, the Falcons used to come out every year and win in Charlotte. The past 2 years, we haven't been able to. Now, granted, the past 2 years, it has been raining. Obviously, 2022, the Thursday night game, I was there. I can tell y'all it was a shit show. It was raining, and we really couldn't get anything going. Carolina was able to dominate that game. And obviously, last year, the showed up 50, maybe 100 people showed up to that game. Arthur Smith fired. That's one of those games that got Arthur Smith fired. You really want to talk about it. Really, after that, almost got to a point for no return. That guy doesn't wear the fuck out of here. That got Arthur Smith fired. Now, granted, it was raining both those games. And let's see, Sunday in Charlotte at kickoff and all day, it's supposed to be a clear sky. So the way I see it, there shouldn't be a problem winning Sunday. There should not be a problem winning. You should be able to come out. It's going to be beautiful weather. Let's see, 79 at kickoff. That is, it's beautiful football weather. There should be no issue at all. I don't know about wind and stuff, but outside of that, you should almost feel like you're playing in the Benz. I'm saying this time and time again. Turn this in Mercedes-Benz North on Sunday, and I'm not even kidding. I wish I could go to this game, man. I can't, scheduling, really as fuck. If I didn't, have honestly, if this game was last weekend, I definitely could have gone to it. If it wasn't, scheduling, I got shit to do on Monday. Y'all know how it is, man. That life gets in the way and it being a 4:25 kickoff. But yeah, and obviously, another thing too, especially with where we are right now in the world and the economy, that it don't money don't grow off trees. You gotta make your dollars where you can. So with that being said, not going to be able to go Sunday. I wish I could make that trip up 85. As much of a pain in the ass as it can be. I love doing it 2 years ago during the rain. I'd love to go there. It seems like it's going to be a beautiful day of football Sunday for the 4:25 kickoff. So I would love to go. Not going to be able to, but for every Falcons fan that is going, make it Mercedes-Benz North. Make it Mercedes-Benz North. Do your thing. Bring. Listen, the energy we've had at the Benz the past few weeks to start the year has been absolutely insane. It's been an energy I haven't felt in that stadium. It really ever since it opened. So bring it up to Charlotte Sunday. Start your own. If we're up big in the fourth quarter, start your own swag surf. Get Kirk Cousins going. And obviously that's only if they're playing well. But man, we're up, we're feeling good, we're taking care of business. Start your own swag surf. Get the ATL ho going. Take over Charlotte, because I wish I could be a part of it. I'm not able to. Everyone who's going Sunday, take over that stadium, because I honestly believe we are going to. However, with that being said, we got to take care of business. Let's see how competitive a rivalry has Panthers Falcons been. How competitive has it been? I'm gonna have to say like a 2 or a 3. I have to. I'll say like a 3, just because of the fact just because of the fact that the past few years we have splitted with them. But for really the most part, the Falcons have absolutely dominated the rivalry. We dominated it during the Matt Ryan years. We really dominated it during the Vic years. I really only think, it's really only recently Carolina has been consistently able to get one a year on us. And I think the last time they swept us was like 2013, if I'm being honest with you. I think that's the last time they swept us. When they won the NFC South at like 12-4. That's the last time listen, everyone knows, the 1-15-1 was the Atlanta Falcons until the Super Bowl versus the Broncos. 97, 05, and 20. I think that's right. Yeah. I think that's right. They've only swept us 3 times. Now granted, we absolutely, listen, the fact that we ain't swept them in 5 years, I honestly think is a disgrace in its own right, and it's got to change this year. It does. We got to take care of business versus the Panthers, because that's the thing, man. I'm gonna say this time and time again. If you're actually a good football team, if you're serious about who you are, you win this game. Kansas City. And I'm just taking them as an example. These are layup games. These are the type of games. Yeah, they may only drop them every once in a while, but 95% of the time, these are layup games for them, especially versus division opponents. Y'all know all those years they beat up on the Broncos before. I think they finally beat them last year for the first time in like 8 years. They beat up on the Broncos. They beat up on the Chargers. They beat up on the Raiders, and that's what you got to do. That is how you want to talk about taking care of business. That's where it starts, with your division. And when you got a team that is below you, you don't play with your food. You take care. You take care of business. Was Carolina a bigger rival in Tampa pre-Tom Brady? Yeah, I'll say so. Look, that about sums it up, right? That's the thing. Carolina, really ever since Tom Brady came, the thing with Carolina has been this. They ain't been good. I mean, at least listen, when they had Cam Newton, was it on the level of the Saints? Obviously not. There's always going to be something with the Falcons and Panthers because of I-85, the I-85 connection in the commute. And obviously, Falcons fans, like they're going to do Sunday, I'm sure, going to make their way up to Charlotte. Panthers fans every year, a good bit of them, take their asses down here to watch the game when it's played in the Benz. But the thing with that is, I'd say, were they a Aints level rivalry? No, but when Cam Newton was in Carolina, that Panthers game, I think it was something. There was a little more competitiveness in it. There was a little more fire in it. Even though, I mean, we really ain't swept them in 5 years. The last time we swept them was 2019. And that also kind of brings me to this, too. If the Falcons win Sunday, they will have a 3-game winning streak. Do y'all know the last time we had a 3-game winning streak? It was when we closed out the 2019 season winning 4 straight. We ain't had a 3-game, and I'm trying to remember. We didn't have any last year. We didn't have any in 21. I mean, the last time we had, since then, I mean, we pretty much been win 1, lose 1, lose 1, win 1, win 1, lose 2, win 2, lose 2, win. You get the gist of it. So it's finally, listen, it's time to put a real winning streak together is what it is. And do it against the division. Ain't nothing better than that. Because, look, you want to talk about outrunning the South. And you want to talk about, getting down to the nitty gritty, winning this division. Outrun the South. Listen, I like it. I do. After week 1, I had some doubts about it. We've won 2 divisional games. We're in the driver's seat in this division. And Tampa plays New Orleans Sunday. It's down in the Superdome. So look, it's an NFC South type of Sunday is what we got going on. Obviously, the Bucs game versus the Saints, that's at 1 o'clock, and then our game's at 4:25. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna put it this way: you want to outrun the South. You want that to be alive. You want that to stick true. You got to win this fucking game. You got to win this game, man. During the Matt Ryan era. Yeah, and look, that's going to kind of lead me into talking about this game. And there's really not much to talk about. Shout out to this comment right here. That I don't, talk about it too much because I really don't honestly feel like there's much to talk about with this game. But that's the thing. Carolina for years has had it, and don't get me wrong, Carolina's dealing with a lot of injuries. Derek Brown is out right now. Shaq Thompson's out. Those are their 2, core players on defense. Shaq Thompson's their longest tenured guy. I think he's the only guy left from that 2015 team. Derek Brown is obviously their force in the middle of that defensive line. They're both out Sunday. So when you really consider, though, Carolina for years and years has had an amazing defense. And they've always had poor offenses, but they've been a team built by defense. Carolina don't have a good defense. And considering what Kirko just did to Tampa, we shouldn't have. I'm not worried about our offense going over there and executing Sunday. I'm not. Is Kirko going to throw for 500 again? I don't know if I'll go that far. Maybe maybe he goes for over 300. Maybe he can get that running game going finally. Maybe he can finally get Bijan going on the ground. That's another thing too. As far as the defense goes, I really think I need to see this defense finally put together a dominant effort Sunday. I need to see turnovers being forced, but more so, I need pressure on Andy Dalton. Carolina is banged up on that O-line. They're banged up all around. Make no mistake about it. But one of the bright spots for Carolina has been Chuba Hubbard. Chuba Hubbard has maybe been their only bright spot really this entire season. So the defense that, the front seven especially is going to have to show up. You're going to have to stop Chuba Hubbard, and that means that run defense that has not been on top of their shit this season, got to get it together. It's not just that, though. You got to get pressure on Andy Dalton. I would love to see us finally be able to put together one of those 3, 4, maybe even 5 sack days. I'm not worrying about this, and I'm seeing it. Chicago just dropped 34 on them. Cincinnati dropped 34 on them, I believe. The Saints week 1 dropped 47 on them. Carolina don't got the defense they used to have. I'm not worried. Honestly, I would not be shocked, and I honestly think the Falcons could go into Charlotte and drop a 40-burger on Sunday. I don't know if I'm going to go that far, but I think they're capable of doing it. The defense, I want to see the defense come out and not play with their food, and the defense really start to build some fucking momentum. Because listen, it's been up and down. I'll say with Jimmy Lake, there's been some things I've liked. Those DBs I feel like have been taught very well. I'm really, and one of the things was kind of the play in the secondary that I was concerned about before the season started. The DBs and that safety, keep in mind what's behind him. AJ Terrell. He outs down for the most part. Obviously the Tampa game, they got him some, but that's always going to happen. But playing solid. What has been killing us with the defense is the front end, and that has to change Sunday. Because the one thing is that, let's say they get the ball first, continue to just dominate with that running game, even regardless. Now, look, I think they scored first in Chicago, and Chicago still blew them the fuck out. I'm not really worried too much about that, but it's just I need to see this run defense get some. Show me something. Show me you can take care of the basic-ass Panthers. Because, listen, you're going to have to tighten the fuck up as the season goes on. And, do the Falcons make another trade? What do they do? I think the bottom line is this, though. You got to take care of business Sunday. Falcons rivalry in 2% Panthers Falcons didn't get the national recognition they should when both rivalries were at their peak. Well, I'm gonna put it this way. First, I think the Falcons Panthers is easy. I think because Carolina, is still in many ways, and I understand. Look, when you, consider the current branding of the Baltimore Ravens, but like you take them and the Steelers for a Super Bowl. It's also about team success. They come their first few years, and obviously Pittsburgh, and that's all. It's because take the Steelers and Ravens. Those two teams are always going to have really not been that good. And to be fair, we really haven't either. And also, I don't think, Carolina, they have that reputation to be in a major rivalry. I don't listen. I say that for us, it's us. That's just how it works. Now, as far as Falcon Saints go, its recognition, I think it is several deeper reasons. Um, I do think, listen, I've said this. I think the Saints and Falcons is absolutely right up there with the Eagles and Cowboys and the Steelers and Ravens, and because listen, it goes deeper than just divisional. It is actual rivalries based on the region that you're in. The Panthers came around in '95. The Saints and Falcons came in within 1 year of each other. We came in and we played our first season in '66. The Saints played their first season in '67. Now, for a lot of that time, both of us sucked. And I'm talking about god awfully sucked. I feel like what it is number one, the Southeast is college football. And if we're really talking about the Southeast and what you consider the Southeast, because I really feel like that's another thing too. What do you consider the Southeast? And we're talking about the Deep South in particular. It really mainly is the Falcons and Saints until the Panthers did come along. And I don't count Florida. I don't. And so maybe, if you consider Tennessee, you can count the Titans. But even at that, that's completely irrelevant. I think why is you have to consider that, and the Falcons and Saints came in. And also the fact, I don't think the NFL really likes both markets, but they especially do not like Atlanta. I think you gotta really acknowledge that. So yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons why the Falcons Saints don't get their recognition. I mean, there are times that we have, but still, I do think both teams have to be good, but at the same time, still, the Eagles, Cowboys, even if both teams suck, there's still going to be recognition. The Steelers, Ravens, they're going to get recognition. Why the Falcons Saints don't get recognition? I think there's a previewing this game. I'm not worried about the offense. I'm not. I think the offense is going to come out and is going to take care of business. I think, they're going to do what they need to do. You're going to see everyone get theirs. And I really feel like that is where it really comes down to it for the offense. Bijan's going to get his, hopefully. Algier, Drake. Listen, now the one guy I really want to see build is Kyle Pitts. I was planning on on doing something this week talking about Kyle Pitts and really putting him under a lot of scrutiny. After that win on Thursday, I kind of took a few steps known in that game. This Sunday, Kyle Pitts, I need to see Kyle Pitts making impact catches. That's where I stand. I really need to see that from Kyle Pitts. But I'm not worried about the offense. The defense, though, I want to see them impress. And as far as, keys to victory or anything, my one key to victory is this: handle your damn business. A lot of games I'll go into keys to victory. This is one of those games. Handle your damn business, and you know what your business is. You're better than this team. You should beat the crap out of this team. So handle your damn business. I'm gonna say the Falcons win 34-16. And honestly, I don't think it should be that close late. I think, a lot of the fourth quarter should be garbage time. Um, and that's really where I stand with this game. I think the Falcons should have no problem coming out and getting out to a lead early. And at that point, Carolina can't run the ball. And that could provide more opportunities, to get to Andy Dalton and bring him down. I'm going to say 34-16. But for the love of God, you got to go out and you got to take care of your business. Let's see. Falcons Saints 08 to 2017. Well, I mean, look, now during that time period, I'll say this. During that time period, the Falcons Saints, they did get recognized. Did they get recognized on the level of the Steelers and Ravens? No. But they did get recognized. I mean, listen, there was a time, throughout the early to mid 2010s, you would see the Falcons and Saints on Monday Night Football, pretty much once every year. I mean, I'm being legitimate there. Or they'd be in primetime in some. Now, I'll say this. I'm going to say this. I don't remember the last time the Falcons and Saints have been actually on Sunday Night Football. So one thing I'll say. But we have been on Thanksgiving. That's also on NBC. We've been, we played each other on Thanksgiving in 2018, 2019. I know that's right after, but still. They used to put us on Monday Night Football a lot versus each other. We get a few Thursday night games sprinkled in there. So it's not like during that time. Now, did they get recognized? I still feel like they could have gotten recognized a little more, but they were in prime time. Anyways, really just, wrapping this thing up. Everyone knows what my stance is. Take care of business. I'm going to do I go live for the game? I don't know if I will. I may just decide to chill, but I'm to be honest, I may just decide, just sit here, chill, watch this game. Listen, we got some business to take care of. We know what it is. It's time to go do it. It's time to make it 3 straight. It's time to continue to outrun the South. That being said, I will see you all in the